Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're stepping into a world where your prayers could get you killed, where your language, your name, your grandmother's cross became evidence that you didn't belong. This is not a story about war. This is a story about being erased. You don't know it yet, but today will echo through time, not in your voice, but in the silence you left behind. The day they came for you was the day history forgot your name and remembered your pain. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Now again, shallower. The air's too dry. It cuts your nose, not with cold, but with dust, smoke, iron. Something is burning far away. You smell it, not like wood or coal, like cloth, like skin. You wake up in the year 1915 in a village near Karpert, in the eastern provinces of the Ottoman Empire. Your body is sore. You slept on a mat, or maybe the floor. It doesn't matter. You don't remember falling asleep. The air is quiet, but not peaceful. The kind of silence that only comes right before a scream. You are an Armenian girl, 17 years old, your hands still calloused from weaving. Or maybe you're a boy, barely 13, your palms stained with pomegranate juice from yesterday's market. You had a home, a voice, a place in the world. But today, that world stops. The knock at the door doesn't sound like a knock. It sounds like a verdict. 3 sharp strikes, then silence. You look at your mother. She doesn't breathe. She doesn't blink. You've seen her frightened before, when the crops failed, or when the plague took Aunt Miriam. But this is not fear. This is something older, something buried, something passed down. She doesn't open the door, not yet. Outside, boots shuffle, metal clicks. A voice speaks Turkish, then a name, your family name. The door swings open. You don't remember who moved first, your father or the soldiers. But you remember the rifle, not pointed, not aimed, just held. Like a broom you said to sweep things away. There is no explanation. There is no warrant. Just an order. Leave your home. Bring only what you can carry. Come now. You're not told where or why. The soldier doesn't shout. He doesn't need to. Your mother grabs a sack, throws in bread, a kerchief, a silver spoon, not because it's valuable, but because it was her wedding gift. Your sister clutches her doll. Your uncle tries to argue, one sentence in Ottoman Turkish. He never finishes it. You never see him again. You take a step outside. The sun is too bright. It hurts. And not because it's noon. It's not. It's because you can now see. This isn't just your family. It's the entire village. Every door, every window. Faces you've known your entire life, all standing barefoot on the road. Heads lowered, hands trembling. There are elders, priests, women with infants still suckling, and they all look like they've seen the end of the world, because they have. You walk with no destination. Just an armed escort, not guarding you, but watching you, not protecting you, but counting you. Behind you, you hear dogs barking, then gunfire. You don't turn around. Ahead of you, the road curves into a valley, and beyond that, you don't know. There is no goodbye, no prayer. The church bell does not ring, only footsteps, dust, and the low sound of crying that no one wants to admit is their own. Your cousin whispers, "Where are they taking us?" Your father says nothing, because he knows. But if he says it aloud, the sky might fall apart. The sun climbs higher. You've walked for hours. You pass other villages, empty, burned. A church spire collapsed into itself. You see a woman, maybe from Arab gear, slumped against a tree. Her dress is red, not dyed red, stained red. The child in her arms is silent. No one stops. You try to count how many people the caravan. Hundreds, thousands, but numbers don't matter anymore, because the road is not a road. It is a mass grave in progress, one that stretches farther than your eyes can see. You want to cry, but your tears don't come. Your body is saving its water for the desert, because that's where they're taking you. You just don't know it yet. You thought the Ottoman Empire was your home. You prayed in your language. You sang hymns your ancestors carried from Mount Ararat. You believed in tomorrow. But this is not exile. This is disappearance. And somewhere, miles away, a government official files a report. He calls it relocation. The day they came for you was the day history forgot your name and remembered your pain. You walk, your feet blister, your shadow grows longer, and the sun, still high in the sky, does not look away. Let the day begin. Voice trembling slightly now, dry, tense, almost like whispering over broken glass. Before your eyes even open, your nose does. And what it smells will never leave you. Not in this life, not in the next. It is not smoke, not exactly. It is sour rot, like food left too long in the sun, but also like flesh. The smell of old blood, crusted into earth. The metallic bite of rusted iron mixed with urine-soaked cloth. Leather, sweat, feces, vomit. Everything human, turned inhuman. And you've been breathing it for hours without knowing. You slept last night in a pile. Not a bed, not a tent. A pile of blankets, of bodies, of strangers. Your family is somewhere nearby, but you didn't sleep with them. There wasn't enough room. Or maybe you were too tired to care. Your head hit the ground and never rose again. Until now. You sit up, instantly regret it. Your spine screams, your shoulders twitch, your knees. You forgot you had knees. They're bruised blue and filled with fire. And beneath you, something warm. You pull your hand away. It's not a blanket. It's a boy, younger than you, unmoving. You check his chest. It does not rise. You look around. You are not alone, not in numbers, but you are completely alone in awareness. Most others are still asleep. If sleep is even the word, it looks more like collapse. Mothers curled around infants like broken eggshells. Men with cracked lips and open eyes. One woman rocks back and forth, but she is holding nothing. There is no privacy, no modesty, no dignity. Only limbs, only hunger, only the sour smell of humans turned into herded animals. You try to stand, but you slip on something wet. It's feces and something else. You stop trying to guess. You move slowly now, like a deer walking through mud. Try not to wake anything that might scream. Your shoes are gone. You wore them yesterday, you're sure, but now they're either lost or someone else is wearing them. You don't blame them. You might have done the same. You hobble toward the edge of the field. The grass is not grass. It's dust with thorns, dry and cracked. And there, just past a mound of flattened sacks and vomit, you see them. The soldiers, sitting, laughing, eating something warm. Their rifles lean lazily against a cart. They look clean. Their boots shine. One of them, a boy, barely older than you, lights a cigarette. He looks at you, right in the eyes, and smiles. You look away, because to hold his gaze might be mistaken as defiance. And today, defiance means death. You hear someone cough behind you, a wet, dragging cough that doesn't end, then another, and another. You turn and realize more than half the people in this camp are sick. Fevers, cholera, typhus, malaria, and nobody treats them. They simply die, quietly, sometimes in the corner, sometimes mid-step. When that happens, their bodies are dragged to the ditch. The same ditch you nearly fell into last night in the dark. You didn't know what it was. Now you do. Surprise historical fact. In the early stages of the Armenian deportations, it is estimated that tens of thousands died not from bullets, but from dehydration, untreated illness, starvation, and filth. Mass ditches were dug in advance of many routes, not for burials, but for disposal. You walk to the ditch and look in. You expected it to look like a grave. It doesn't. It looks like hell. Arm's hair, a child's shoe. One hand is still clenching something, a doll, half burned. You take a step back. You don't vomit. You're too empty, but your stomach still tries. You double over. You dry heave nothing but air. Even your spit has run out. You collapse back onto your knees, and that's when you notice your hands, covered in grime, cracked open at the knuckles, your fingernails, black. One is split down the middle. You didn't even feel it happen. Your skin no longer smells like you. It smells like everyone else. A soldier approaches. He has a stick, not for walking, for nudging. He points it at a man next to you, says something in Turkish. You don't understand it all, just enough. Dead? The man doesn't respond. The soldier lifts the stick, pushes the man's shoulder. No response. He moves on. You're not sure what to be more afraid of, the man who dies silently, or the soldier who stops checking. You move again, to where the sun touches the ground. You spread your arms, feel nothing, no warmth, no relief, just exposure. This is your life now. A caravan without direction, a body without rest, a smell that will live in your mind forever. You hear children crying, and something inside you, something once soft, begins to harden, not with anger, not yet, but with something even heavier, resignation. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, but to forget. For a second, you imagine water, your grandmother's garden, the sound of bees, the old church bell, the smell of roasted walnuts. But then the wind changes, and once again, you smell the ditch. Voice slow, final, filled with dread. You breathe in. Too shallow. You'll get used to it. Or you won't. Voice low, tired, and emotionally drained, like someone who's seen too much and knows it's only the beginning. Your first task today is simple. Stay alive long enough to reach midday. There's no food bell, no announcement, no water line. There is only dust and eyes. Too many of them. Not enough that care. You scan the camp, the road, the hills, but no one moves unless they're pushed. And those who push do it with a stick or the butt of a rifle. You hold your stomach. It doesn't growl anymore. It gave up hours ago, or maybe yesterday. You can't remember. Your last meal? 2 nights back. A heel of dry bread. You didn't eat it all at once. You were saving some for your sister. But you dropped it when the dogs came too close. The soldier laughed. You didn't. There's a tin water pail at the edge of the camp. One. For hundreds. No one guards it, because there's nothing left to guard. You move toward it slowly, not to avoid being seen, but to pace your hope. If you get there and it's dry, you're not sure what part of you will break first. The closer you get, the worse it looks. The rim is coated in black lips of mud, the mix of dirt, spit, and thirst. You hear flies before you see them. Then the film of oil on top. It's not water. It's a memory of water. You drink anyway. You tip it back. A single sip. That's all that's left. You don't gag. Your body is past that. You swallow and you keep walking. But the worst part isn't what's missing. It's the eyes. Eyes that stare too long, too blank, too knowing. A boy watches you, 10 years old at most. His shirt is a rag. His feet are bleeding. But it's his eyes that strike you. He's not afraid. He's not hopeful. He's just empty. Another man, wrapped in cloth from chest to toe, is sitting against a broken cartwheel. He has no legs. You don't ask why. He doesn't speak. He just stares at the sky, like it owes him something. It probably does. You try to walk with confidence, to look like someone who belongs here. But inside, what if they notice I don't belong here? Not because you're stronger, not because you're better, but because you still think like someone who had a home. That is dangerous. Your stomach turns again, not from hunger, from fear. You are still clinging to an identity. You are still someone. And in this world, that's a liability. A soldier passes. He doesn't look at you. You don't look at him. But you feel it. His eyes on your back the second you turn. Not hate, not cruelty, just boredom. And somehow, that's worse. You reach your family. Your mother is boiling a handful of weeds in a rusted tin can. No salt, no broth, just leaves. Your sister is trying to chew a belt. She says it helps with the hunger. You don't stop her. You've done it too. Your father is coughing, deep, low, the kind of cough that moves something inside his chest. He says he's fine, but he's not. No one is. You sit beside them, cross-legged, your bones pressing through skin like wooden pegs in a sack. Your lips are cracked. Your nose bleeds a little when you tilt your head. You don't wipe it. You just press your face into your knees and try to forget the sound of flies buzzing near the ditch. You hear a whistle. Orders. The caravan is moving again. The line forms slowly. Some people crawl into it. Some are carried. You take your place. A woman near you drops her baby. No one helps. Not because they don't care, but because their arms are full of grief, of silence, of themselves. You begin walking again. Step, breathe, don't cry, repeat. The sun begins to rise, and with it, the wind. It blows sand into your face, your mouth, your eyes. No one covers their face. No one shields their children. What's the point? The only noise is the shuffle of feet and the coughs of the dying, occasionally a scream or a shot. But those are rare now. Most people don't scream anymore. You pass a town, or what's left of it. Stone walls with bullet holes, church tower decapitated, crosses split in two. You don't recognize it at first. Then you see the mill. You were here once. You sold eggs to the baker. You smiled at a girl with green eyes. That was 2 months ago. Now it smells like sulfur and silence. And in the middle of the ruined square, you see them, 4 women, tied to a post. They are not moving, but they are not gone either. Their mouths are open, their eyes too. You look away before your mother can stop you. The soldier smirks. Maybe I'm not meant for this. A question forms, one you swore you'd never ask. Why me? Why are you still here, when so many better people are gone? Why you, when you still can't kill the voice inside that keeps whispering, maybe the gods made a mistake, but you keep walking, because it's the only thing left to do. Step, breathe, don't cry, repeat. Voice softens now, tired, reflective, like a lull before the next storm. You move anyway, not because you have hope, but because the wind won't stop blowing, and the earth refuses to hold still. Voice quiet, reverent, like a prayer murmured inside a burning church. There's no room for weakness in this world, because even the heavens seem to have stopped watching. But still, You kneel, even if your knees are cracked, even if the dirt burns, even if your belief feels thin as the dust between your fingers. You kneel, because that's all you remember how to do. They say God is everywhere, but today He is not here, not on this road, not in this silence, not in the soldier's eyes, not in the sun's refusal to hide, and yet you still whisper His name, not loudly, not for others, just for yourself, a syllable carried in your breath, a murmur, a rhythm, like a heartbeat trying to remember what it used to sound like. You look at your mother, her lips are moving too, no sound, but you know the prayer. You learned it from her when you were 5, kneeling on her lap during Easter service, your arms crossed, the scent of incense in your nose, the red silk of the priest's robes glimmering like fire. That church is ash now. You don't ask her if she believes the prayer will work. You don't want to know the answer. The caravan stops, not for rest, that never happens, but because the path narrows and a body blocks the way. He is old, his eyes open, but unseeing, one hand stretched out, curled inward, like he was reaching for something, maybe mercy, maybe bread. No one prays for him, not aloud, because words are dangerous now, even sacred ones. They remind people who you are, and that is something you can no longer afford. The priest in your group, Father Krikor, still wears his collar. He hasn't spoken in days, but this morning he drew a cross in the dirt with his finger, then wiped it away before anyone saw. You caught it, though, and for one strange moment, you felt seen, not by him, by something else, by the air, by the past. Thematic anchor. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. You remember that line from a sermon. It meant something then, something about sacrifice and faith. Now it means something else. Because here, on this road, you're not living for salvation. You're walking toward disappearance. And still, you walk with your head bowed, like a servant, like an offering. Last night, a girl carved a cross into her skin. Not to die, to not forget. She said her mother was buried in a shallow grave 3 days ago, and she didn't want the world to end before she carried a piece of her faith with her. You asked if it hurt. She said, "Everything hurts. Might as well make it holy." A man to your left has been whispering psalms in Armenian. The soldier behind him said nothing for a day. Then, on the second day, he broke the man's nose with a rifle butt. Now the man prays with his mouth closed. The words never stopped. They just live in his breath now. They tell you to keep moving, but your body is not the same as it was yesterday. Your feet bleed, your knees shake. But your soul is somewhere else entirely. Somewhere high, somewhere old, somewhere stained with smoke and stone. Maybe your soul is still in the church. The one with the blue dome, the one with the cracked bell, the one they set on fire the day you left. You blink and you're back on the road. There's no bell here, no dome, only heat and dust and bones that never find peace. Still, you repeat it. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. And when you do, you don't feel stronger, but you feel real. A boy next to you collapses. His father lifts him. You want to help, but your arms barely lift your own body. So you whisper a verse instead. It's the only thing you can still lift. And that's what keeps you human. Not food, not sleep, not shelter, but memory and faith, even when that faith is held together by nothing but breath and ash. That night, the stars come out. You haven't looked up in days, but now you do. The sky is full, like someone poured every soul upward and scattered them across the dark. You almost feel warmth, but it's only the illusion of it. You lie down beside your family. There's no tent, no wall, just sleep if it comes. You close your eyes, and before you fall into dreams, you whisper, Lord, if you still watch us, look away. We're already burning. Voice lingers here, poetic, distant, like fading smoke. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. And in that thought, you sleep. Voice calm, cutting, like someone reading a list of names that history forgot. There is no law here, not for you. There is only power, and it doesn't look the way you expected it to. It doesn't wear medals or scream in the streets. It doesn't ride horses or fly flags. It whispers, it documents, it nods, and when it's done, you no longer exist. A man with a pen wrote your death months ago. He never saw your face, never smelled your bread, never heard your laughter. He just signed a paper, and that paper overpowered everything you ever were. You didn't die in that moment, but your rights did, your citizenship, your place in the empire, gone with the signature. You march on roads now where justice does not walk. Only soldiers. They don't call themselves executioners. They are guards, supervisors, handlers. They say they're here to protect order. But whose order? Certainly not yours. You hear someone behind you say, "We are still Ottoman citizens." The soldier in front of them turns, smiles. "No," he says, "not anymore." And just like that, centuries of identity collapse in a single breath. You pass a government cart. 2 officials sit inside it. Not soldiers, men in suits. One wears glasses. He is reading a list aloud. You catch your father's name, spelled wrong. They laugh, then they cross it out. That's all it takes to erase him. A flick of the wrist, a broken pencil. You ask your mother what that means. She doesn't answer, not because she doesn't know, but because she knows too much. You begin to notice the layers of authority around you. There are the soldiers, then the officers, then the officials, then the paper, and behind all of them, the silence of the outside world. You wonder if anyone knows what's happening. Then you wonder something worse. Maybe they know. Maybe they just don't care. At the edge of a ravine, the caravan halts. A Turkish official dismounts from his horse. He walks slowly down the line. He doesn't touch anyone, doesn't shout. He only watches. When he stops at you, he studies your face. You feel like a specimen, not a child. He turns to your mother. "Name?" he says. She answers. He stares at her. Then he writes something in a ledger, walks on. You'll never know what he wrote. A number, a status, a mark. You'll only know what it led to. Centuries from now, historians will wonder what his name even meant. What did that man believe? Did he see you as less than human or simply less important? It doesn't matter, because today his word decides who eats. That night, the rules change again. They tell you the elderly must stay behind. They are slowing the line. You hear murmurs. Some protest, some beg. One old man begins to pray aloud. A soldier strikes him to the ground. Blood and prayer mix in the dirt. The rest fall silent. Your grandfather hides under a canvas. He's blind in one eye. He cannot walk fast. Your father wants to carry him, but he can barely walk himself. You make the choice. You don't remember doing it, but somehow you do. You say goodbye with your eyes. That's all, and you walk away. Later you ask yourself, was that mercy or obedience? You don't answer, because there are no answers anymore, only movement. The next morning your group passes a checkpoint. More officials, more documents, more lists. You don't speak, you don't blink. You've learned that the quiet ones survive longer. Maybe, A man tries to explain his paperwork, a permit, a stamp, proof that he once paid taxes. The officer burns the paper in front of him. Taxes? The man asks. You owe us nothing anymore, the soldier replies. Not even your name. And still, the caravan moves, because that is all it knows now. Forward, obedience, silence. You are no longer a citizen, no longer a child, no longer a soul protected by state or law. You are a number, an inconvenience, a thing to be relocated or removed, depending on the day, depending on the mood of the man holding the pen. Voice slows here, cold and clear, like a legal sentence echoing through stone. And that is the most terrifying truth of power. Not that it destroys you, but that it doesn't need to hate you first. Centuries from now, historians will wonder what his name even meant. But today, his word means life or death, and your silence means survival. Voice low, slow, like a whisper coming from inside a shell. You haven't spoken all day, not because you can't, but because there's no one left to speak to. Your sister is somewhere in the column. Your father can no longer walk beside you. Your mother, you haven't seen her since morning. She may still be walking, or not. You carry no bag, no shoes, no name, not really. Just weight, not on your back, but inside your chest. A slow, silent weight pressing downward, deeper, heavier, like the earth is trying to bury you before your body stops moving. The sky is bright again, but it doesn't feel like light. It feels like something watching you, something enormous and careless, something that won't blink. The heat cooks your thoughts, not a metaphor. You forget your own name at one point. It comes back, but slower than it should. There's dust on your tongue. You haven't eaten in 2 days. A woman offered you a dried fig, then changed her mind. You didn't blame her. She has a child to carry. You're just one more mouth the desert doesn't want. You walk past a field of bodies. Some are arranged, most are not. One still has an arm raised, like he tried to say something, or stop something, or surrender. But there's no one left to tell that to. You hear a voice, your voice. It says, maybe I'm not meant for this. You don't remember thinking it, but the words hang in the air, like smoke from a fire you didn't start. Your head swims, your vision pulses, your feet move without asking. Each step feels like betrayal, because with each one, you leave more of yourself behind. You used to be someone. You had memories, favorites, secrets. Now you have a face you no longer recognize, a silence so wide you can drown in it, a hunger that feels older than your body. You fall to your knees, not on purpose. Your legs just give up. You stare at the ground. A beetle crawls past your hand. You watch it. You envy it. It has direction. It has purpose. You don't. You press your forehead into the dirt, not because you're praying, but because you want to be low, low enough that maybe the world will forget you, spare you, erase you gently, without pain. Maybe the gods made a mistake. You hear others walking past you, but no one stops. They all feel it too. They just haven't collapsed yet. Your eyes close. Darkness rushes in like water. You let it. But before it takes you, you hear something. A voice. Not real. Not spoken. But deep. Familiar. Like the echo of someone you once were. It says, you are not done. You want to scream at it. You are done. There's nothing left to carry. Nothing left to lose. Except time. And even that feels like a punishment. Someone lifts you. Not a soldier. A woman. Old. Stronger than she looks. She doesn't speak. She just props you against a tree. Tears leak from your eyes without permission. Not sobbing, not grief, just leakage. Because you're cracked now, and the inside is spilling out. You breathe, shallow, stuttering, but it counts. You're still breathing. You don't pray, not because you don't believe, but because your words are too dry. Even your thoughts crack when you form them. You stare at your hands. They are blistered, cut, stained. They don't look like yours. You close them into fists. They shake. You open them. They ache. You try to remember what they used to hold. A pencil, a ribbon, your brother's hand. It all feels like someone else's story now. You sleep that night beside a dry riverbed. You don't know who is around you. And for the first time, you don't care. You curl into yourself, not for warmth, but for identity, to become a shape you recognize. Voice softens, barely audible, like a thought you're afraid to hear. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. But you keep breathing, because your body doesn't know how to stop yet. And tomorrow, the road will demand more. Voice slow, taut, like breath caught in the throat before everything breaks. There is a line in the sand today, not metaphor, a real line, drawn by a soldier's boot across the dirt. You didn't see it coming. No one did. But now it's there. And you have to choose. It begins with a sound, a scream, high, fast, a child's voice. Then silence. Then another scream. Lower this time, a woman's voice. Then a slap. The caravan stops. That almost never happens. You freeze in place. Everyone does. At the front of the column, a woman is kneeling. Her daughter clutches her arm. A soldier is shouting. You don't understand every word, but you understand enough. She's accused of stealing bread, a piece no bigger than your palm. She denies it. The soldier doesn't care. He strikes her across the face. She falls sideways, half conscious. The child screams again, and this time, no one moves. You're watching. You shouldn't be. Your eyes should be down, your mouth shut. But you can't stop looking, because it feels like the earth has split, and the line is visible now. The soldier raises his boot, to stomp her, to punish her, to remind everyone what happens to thieves, to mothers. Then, you step forward. You don't remember telling your feet to move. You don't even feel your body. Only fire, only heat. And suddenly, you're standing between them, between the soldier and the woman, between power and pain. The world holds its breath. Even the flies seem to stop. The soldier's hand hovers mid-air. He is shocked, not because of what you did, but because someone like you still thinks you're allowed to. You don't speak. You wouldn't know what to say. Even if you did, your mouth is dry. Your hands are trembling. But you stay there. Not because you're brave, but because something inside you refuses to move. You hear a murmur ripple through the crowd behind you. Some are afraid. Some are praying. Some are hoping they're not next. The soldier lowers his boot, steps back, then steps forward again. Past you this time. He grabs the child. She shrieks. The mother claws at the dirt, reaching for her daughter. But the soldier's grip is iron. Then he makes an offer, cold, clinical. You take her punishment, he says. Your breath catches. It's not a question. It's not mercy. It's theater. A lesson for the crowd. You look at the woman, at the child, at the soldier. You nod. You don't know why. You just do. The blow comes fast to the side of your head. You don't fall, not immediately. Then a second, a third. You don't count. You only remember the sound. Cheek against bone, metal against ribs. The thud of the earth when it catches you. The soldier steps back. His lesson is complete. But you don't die. Not this time. You lie there, half conscious, eyes open. The child cries beside you. The woman cradles her. And for one moment, just one, the road feels quiet. Not safe, but changed. Because you did something no one expected. You disobeyed. End segment teaser. What happens next will follow you into legend or oblivion. Voice slow, quiet, but heavier. Like an ember refusing to go out. You chose pain over silence. And now, the story will remember you, if only for a moment. Voice dry, slow, almost documentary, like someone cataloging a museum of loss. A single nail costs a day's walk, a bootlace, a fistful of flour, a knife, 2 days of rations, or your mother's earrings. That's the economy now. That's survival. There is no currency here. Not anymore. The coins you once carried were melted for bullets. The bills were burned for heat. Now what matters are bread crusts, dried roots, cloth that hasn't been pissed on, a spoon, a patch of shade. You pass through a village today, burned out, abandoned, the windows blown inward, like the houses inhaled the fire and couldn't let it go. But there are signs of life, not people, commerce. At the edge of the road, a man squats with a bundle of goods. He's not a merchant, just a survivor with slightly more than everyone else. He has a cracked ceramic bowl, a half bar of soap, salt wire, a tin cup. You stop. You point to the salt. He stares at you, eyes sunken, cheeks hollow. He asks for your coat. You say nothing, because your coat is thin, barely fabric. But it's the only thing that's kept the wind from biting your skin raw. You look at the salt again, just a few grains. But it could make the weeds you boiled taste less like vomit. You shake your head. You walk on. Someone else trades. A mother gives her only scarf for a dull blade, not to fight, to cut roots, skin bark, scrape lice from her daughter's scalp. Tools are currency now, but so is pain. In the caravan, stories spread. A man traded his wedding ring for 3 pieces of firewood. Another gave away his son's shoes for water. Another sold his daughter's body for a bowl of lentils. You don't know if it's true, but you know it could be, and that's enough. You walk past a soldier throwing away a can of meat. It hits the ground, rolls toward the ditch. Before it stops spinning, 4 people dive for it. No one wins. You see a child dragging a stick. It's not just play. It's his only weapon. Against dogs, against strangers, against hunger, you have nothing. No blanket, no coin, no favor to call in. But you keep something small in your waistband. A rusted button, once from your father's coat. It's worthless to everyone else, but to you, it's the last object that proves you existed before this. Surprise historical fact. During the death marches of 1915 to 16, Ottoman soldiers and paramilitaries frequently extorted valuables from Armenians, trading food and water for jewelry, clothes, and even family members. Economies of cruelty flourished. In some cases, people paid to be killed quickly, rather than left to die slowly. You hear someone whisper, "How many lives is a cup of water worth?" Someone else replies, "All of them." Your group reaches a checkpoint. A new officer, a new rule. He says, all men over 15 must carry stones to the next village. You ask why. No answer. You carry them anyway. Each one the size of a skull. They don't tell you what they're for. You'll find out later. They become the walls of your prison. That night, a fire burns, a real one. You're too far to feel the heat, but you watch the flames. A family traded their last goat for it. They'll sleep warm tonight. Tomorrow, they'll wake up cold again. You lie on the ground, hungry, filthy, sore, but still breathing, and you wonder, what are you worth? Not to them, to yourself. If you were offered a crust of bread to give up your name, would you? If someone handed you a warm coat in exchange for forgetting your brother's face, would you? What if they promised rest for silence? Voice becomes gentler, not comforting, but truthful. You sweat, you bleed, you trade your hours for footsteps, your dignity for another day. Your body is a currency now. Your breath is someone else's asset. You wonder, how many lives are worth a pair of shoes? Voice sharp now, not angry, but stripped of all illusions. A tone sharpened by truth. You thought this world was noble. You thought that if genocide ever happened, someone would stop it. That soldiers were monsters, easily spotted. That history had rules. That prayers were armor. That your humanity would count for something. But now you know what genocide really looks like. It looks like a ledger, a convoy, a man with a stamp, a woman offering her child for mercy, a church turned into a stable, a silence that never lifts. It's not dramatic, it's procedural, methodical, efficient, like cleaning house, except the dust is made of names. The world said relocation, but you were not relocated. You were removed, and not because you did anything wrong, but because you were born Armenian. You were taught history was heroic, that the empire stood tall, that its people were brothers, that honor bound the east to the west. But no one told you about the lists, about the hidden orders, about the trains and the gendarme units and the body pits carved into the Tigris. No one told you what real erasure felt like. You thought it would be loud. It wasn't. It was slow, silent, dignified even, on the surface. You thought justice wore a uniform, but today justice wears rags. It limps behind the caravan. It cries out with no mouth. It begs with no hands, because justice was removed before you were. You pass a village where they told you Armenians never lived, but the stones tell the truth. Carved crosses, burnt door frames, charred books in your own script, thrown into the well to poison the memory. They erased your people with tools, fire, and time, and then claimed you were never there to begin with. And in a century, they'll still argue it wasn't genocide. They'll say it was war. It was relocation. It was unfortunate. It was complex. You want to scream, but screaming won't bring your language back, won't unbury your priest, won't rebuild the bones of your grandmother under the apricot tree. Thematic repetition. Callback. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. And now you realize you weren't the offering. You were the evidence. Evidence of a culture too bright to control, of a people too rooted to move, too proud to vanish quietly. And so, they made you vanish violently. And what did the world do? Nothing. Worse than nothing. They watched. They debated. They changed the subject. You thought this world was clean. But real history isn't clean. It's clotted. It's damp. It smells like burning wheat and blood in shoes. There are no heroic rescues, no speeches, no music swelling at the right moment. Just miles, dust, torn cloth tied around open wounds, and the gnawing question, will anyone even remember we were here? Voice low again, haunted now. You are not just a warrior, you are the consequence. And this world doesn't need your dreams. It needs your silence. Voice slowed, like it's walking through ruins. Heavy, aching, final. There's blood on your hands now. Maybe it's yours, maybe not. You don't remember the moment it happened. You only remember the color. Dark, almost black, sticky, smelling not just of iron, but of something deeper, like history turning to rot. The day begins like the others, dust, marching, a new checkpoint, a new silence, then a shout, a gunshot, a girl falls. No one stops, except you. You don't touch her. You just kneel near the body. Your hand open, reflex, instinct, madness. You don't even know her name. And that's when you hear it. Your name. From behind, from a soldier. He yells it again. You stand slowly, not knowing if it will be the last time. There is no trial, no accusation, just a look, a nod, and two men grab your arms. They take you away from the column to a ravine, the same one you passed 2 days ago. Now it's deeper, and now it is full. You see them, bodies, not buried, just left, twisted, stacked, folded like old clothes in a burning house. You try not to scream. You succeed because you've forgotten how. They throw you down. You land hard. Your lip splits. One soldier raises a rifle. The other lights a cigarette. He squints at you, not with hatred, just boredom. And then the officer walks away. No order given, just silence. And the two soldiers follow him. You lie there, unshot, unsaved, uncertain. And that's the worst part. Not the pain, not the fear. The fact that they could have ended you, but chose not to, because your life has become a coin tossed into the wind. Spendable, forgettable. You crawl from the pit. Hours pass. You return to the caravan, slower now. No one asks what happened. Maybe they know. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they saw the same pit days ago, and their hearts drowned there too. Later that night, the wind howls. You dream of home, but home doesn't dream of you. Call back. This day will echo through time. You remember that phrase. You believed it once, but now you wonder, will it echo in pride or in regret? You think of the girl, of the pit, of the soldiers who never needed a reason. You think of your grandmother's cross, still hidden in the fold of your waistband. It's bent now, but still whole, like you, and that's when you realize you are not surviving for yourself anymore. You're surviving for the memory, for the story, for the chance that one day someone might speak your name again. Voice steadies, not strong, but clear. This is no longer about escape. It's about evidence. You walk again, with pain, with blood, but also with purpose. Voice gentle, broken, slow, like a quiet prayer that no one taught you, but you remember anyway. The moon is out. It doesn't shine. It listens. You lie still, half buried in dust. The earth beneath your shoulder is cold, but not cruel, not like people can be. The night wraps around you with no blanket, no promise, but somehow it feels more honest than anything you've known in weeks. No one speaks. They're afraid that if they do, the silence might not come back, and the silence is all you have left. There's no fire, only breath, and even that is quiet, measured, like each person is asking permission from the air just to keep existing. You hear one deep cough, then two, then nothing. You're afraid to blink too long, in case when your eyes open, you've been taken again, moved again, forgotten again. You stare upward into the dark curve of sky, vast, uncaring, beautiful in a way that hurts, because it's still there, and so many of you are not. You're not sure where your family is anymore. Your father fell behind days ago. Your mother stopped speaking yesterday. Your sister hasn't met your eye since the checkpoint. She still walks beside you, but she's not with you. Not really. You shift slightly. Every bone complains. Even your bruises are tired now. The pain has settled into a kind of rhythm, a drumbeat of survival you no longer resist. You feel something in your palm. You open it, the bent cross, still there. Sharp edge, worn curve, bent arm, like a person trying to shield themselves from the sky. It once belonged to your grandmother. Now it belongs to your pain. You close your eyes, but the world behind your lids is not dark. It is crowded. Memories press against you like a crowd you can't push through. The church bell in your old village, the smell of wet wool and fresh lentils, your uncle's singing voice, always too loud, the grainy floor of your childhood bedroom, the way your dog barked at sparrows, your name spoken with love, your language, sharp, round, honeyed, all of it. Gone? Or maybe not. Maybe not. Because tonight they live inside you, and even if you disappear, they might echo inside someone else. You open your eyes again. The stars have shifted. You feel like they're closer, not in distance, in grief. To your right, someone begins to hum, very softly, a lullaby maybe, or a prayer, or a memory that forgot it was music. You don't recognize the words, but the pain is familiar. You breathe it in like incense. Someone else is digging nearby. You can't see who. You don't want to,
because if you name them, you might love them, and if you love them, you might lose them. The shovel is quiet, just dirt being persuaded to let go of its secrets. One small grave, maybe two, no wailing, no mourning clothes, just need. And so you lie still, because motion is a kind of betrayal, because peace, once broken, might not return. You remember what it felt like to fall asleep as a child, your mother brushing your hair back, her fingers smelling of soap and mint, a soft cloth tucking you in, the faint murmur of voices from the other room. Safety, that was sleep once. Now sleep is risk. Now sleep is a pause between punishments, a gamble, a surrender. You feel the dirt cling to your legs like vines. The air tastes of sweat, bark, and old copper. Even the bugs don't bite anymore. There's no blood left in you they want, but somehow you still breathe. You still make a space for breath. Even here, even now, your hand tightens around the cross, not because it protects you, but because it remembers you. Final thematic echo. You were never just a servant. You were the story. And now you are the witness. Not because you chose to be, but because no one else lived long enough. The stars don't blink, but you do, just once. And in that single blink, you let go, not of life, but of resistance, of rage, of everything that's turned your bones into stone. And in that softest of silences, you sleep.
You are not warm. You are not safe. But you are still here. And in a world built to forget you, that is a kind of defiance. Voice fades to the quietest breath. Sleep now. Tomorrow, they'll call your name again. And if they don't, you'll still be here, in the dirt, in the memory, in the silence that outlived them all. Voice soft and sacred, like speaking in candlelight after the storm has passed. You lived it. You felt it. You breathed it in. The dust, the silence, the centuries of suffering. You didn't just hear a story. You walked it. You survived it for a while. But now the road ends, and you're still standing. You don't remember the beginning anymore. Not clearly. You remember the sounds, the faces, the heat, but the you from before, that version faded miles ago. You are not the same person who woke in that quiet Armenian village. That person had a name, a home, a future. Now, you are the witness, the one who saw, who stayed silent when it saved you, who stepped forward when no one else could. And now you're here, not safe, not whole, but still here. What did you lose? Everything. What did you gain? Everything that memory keeps alive. Because the truth is this: you may not have survived the march, but the story did. And that story is you. You are what remains when the dust settles. You are what whispers when the world forgets. You are what breathes when the book is closed. They wrote your people out of the official record, burned your names from the census, shoveled your churches into fire, but they could not burn the memory. They could not erase the echo, and they did not destroy this moment, because right now you remember, and in that memory they live. So let me ask you now, could you have survived even a single day? Could you have made that choice? To trade pain for silence, to carry the cross under your shirt, not around your neck, to bury your mother and not leave a stone to mark her? Could you have watched your brother disappear into the crowd and still kept walking? If your child cried for water and all you had was blood, what would you do? If your priest was buried in the ditch and your language outlawed in the market, what would you speak? Could you have lived with no name, no proof, no one left who remembered your face? And if you had, would you have been the same person when you came out the other side? The Armenian genocide was not just about death. It was about unmaking memory, unmaking language, unmaking faith, unmaking names, unmaking the ability to say, I was here, and yet here you are, saying it, feeling it, carrying it, voice steadies, reverent and resolved. So now we ask you, could you have survived a single day in this world? Let us know in the comments. Say their names. Type a prayer. Leave even one word, because words are what they tried to take. And every time we speak them now, we build back a little of what was lost. You are part of something rare. The few who stayed through the silence, who didn't skip, who didn't look away. And that is power, the power of memory. They didn't want you to know, but now you do. You carry it now. So walk gently, speak clearly, share loudly. This road doesn't end with them. It continues in you, in your breath, in your voice, in the way your chest tightened when the girl was pulled away, and the
way your hands shook when you touched the bent cross. Voice dims, a final sacred hush. And if you're still here, you are a rare one. You are the resistance to forgetting. You are the breath behind every ghost still walking that road. You are the story they tried to erase. Sleep well, storyteller.